Hi, this is Dr. Nicole Duran, and the very first element that we covered for the Nature of Music series was rhythm, which is not any relation to the high or low pitches of the sound and the tones that you would sing, but it is just the pulse and then the long and short notes on top of it. So I'm going to check into this King of Love cantata again, and I'm going to listen to a part of it where I think I could add a little bit of rhythm. And each one of these psalms I set to a different tune, and now I'm pasting them together into a cantata to make a new form. And it's something like a ronda or a sonata where you have different elements coming together. So I just go here to the start center. This one I did not fully integrate into the King of Love cantata, but there is supposed to be a rhythmic element in here. Now, I can't find it on there. I'm just going to give you an example of how I would do it on this Muse score. I'm realizing maybe I should think about doing it because I don't have any instruments just devoted to providing pure rhythm. So it would end up sounding something like this. And you hear a little bit of different rhythms going on as the harmony is progressing. If I listen to this arrangement that I made for Easter, you actually have a rhythm instrument, the claves, setting a pulse. And then it stops. And I think it is going to come back in after this singing of the two different melodies stop, right about here. So you can hear it in the background. It's not drowning out the words at all, but it's kind of keeping everybody together as a bit of a heartbeat. So I just remembered rhythm was something important to talk about as I'm composing this cantata, because we don't want people getting off from each other, one person being ahead, another dragging behind. And we just got over Memorial Day, and so my rhythm of the seasons is a little bit off because I'm starting work on Tuesday instead of Monday. But rhythm is always a joyful part of your compositional making and listening to the elements of music. And again, enjoy this whole series. Support me on Buy Me a Coffee if you can, and I'd love it if you'd subscribe. We are going through the nature of music and elements of music as defined by Roger Kamian, whose music and appreciation I love. And I'm just going to take 7 minutes this morning to work on one of those foundational elements, which is pitch, and do that by working on a cantata that I'm getting ready that infuses hymns, folk songs, and original elements. And of course, the pitches are going to be the heart of what people will remember about the music. The high pitches, the contour of them, the repetition of them, alternation of them. So I'm only going to be focusing in on pitch right now, not on rhythm, not on harmony. This would be the time in your composing where you hear a wrong note, or you realize the melody needs to be continued or closed off somehow, or there needs to be a transition in pitches to lead you to this new melody. So let's just see what we have here. I'm going to get into Muse score. One interesting thing as I compose, I am hearing birds singing, and they have pitch in their songs, mainly pitch. They do the exact same pitches. They have a perfect pitch system of their own. And often if you are listening just to music with words, you will find that having the words not quite line up with the pitches is something that bothers you. And so as I work on pitches, I also work on the lyrics. One way I can isolate pitches and get them away from harmony is that in this cantata, I have a group of singers, and the singers are all singing at the same pitch. So I'm just going to listen to the pitches at the end and see how they flow into each other. there at measure 246, there's like a 5-measure pause, and there's no longer any singing part. So I want to see where, with the rest of the instruments I've put in. So this is a longer composition for me. Just having 256 measures for other people to perform is pretty exciting. I have to be careful as I scroll along that I don't touch something and like alter the whole composition by mistake. I'm just kind of scrolling through to get to measure 256. Okay, let's listen here. The melody is kind of on top of each other, and I don't see any words in the singing part. So either I'm going to have to put a neutral syllable in, Alleluia, or something, but let's see how this sounds, just to review it. Okay, so that's how far I got today, and I'm hearing that melody at the end is different than do 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 do. This one is do 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 do. So I have to figure out, do I want to end on a different concluding melody? I don't think so. So either I'm going to make it longer so that I can come back to that main home melody, or I am going to take some of those instruments and have them play this other melody softer, and then put the main melody in a more present and obvious way, because that's how I deal with form. I like to make it obvious what's going on. I like things to be clear. So tune in. That will be on form as I get to that and make that decision. Have a good day listening for your melodies. We are talking today about the element of music called harmony in the nature of music, and I am going to be reviewing my composition for elements of harmony. You can see here I'm using Muse score. I'm going to select my King of Love cantata, and I'm going to play it and listen for harmony. And the harmony in this is fairly simple. It's all diatonic, which means across the keys and generally centering on a home note. So let's hear some of those. Okay, this is a very old Irish folk tune, goes by the tune name Slain, and I don't have any harmony with it. So you guys will get to observe me bring in some harmony. I've already discerned that the melody needed a little bit of adapting for the voice, and so I'll probably work the harmony around that, and I'm going to use the piano to get the dominant chord in. And you hear those notes nicely falling in line with each other. Put the violin on the third and the cello on the root. And I'm gonna go back. I'm gonna copy that chord and bring it back a few measures. I like the way the harmony is distributed. So now I've got one harmony at the cadence where the melody is being slightly altered. Thirds are very pleasant to listen to, but you can't always have the same third stacked up continually, or else it starts to sound not very harmonious. So I'm just gonna put this little experiment in here, and I've basically got something in thirds, and you'll hear how the melody sounds different. Oh dear, I pasted something I should not have. I'm excited to get this music out for the concert September 21st. Okay, now we're going to hear for a little time the melody with no harmony. We're gonna see what kind of harmony I added. And if I love it, great. If not, I'm gonna change it. Okay, if you heard that, you probably thought, what happened there? That is too jarring. There's like minor seconds. It does not sound nice. I just left that in there to shock us. I know that needs to be fixed. So we are going to move everybody up 2 steps, and hopefully this will be A minor to C major, which is the 5th. Yeah. I'm wondering if it should have an F. So we get a little stronger root movement in there. I'm fairly satisfied with that. We might have to go back and modify the rhythm and the form, but I think that provides some of the background sound that's going to set the melody up to sound good. So that's the function of harmony, and me working on harmony for a cantata for some of my wonderful, talented musicians at Durian Music Studio. Thanks for watching, subscribe, like, and we will be at it again tomorrow. So the one way to harmonize things is with block chords, and then I got excited about the poetry by Lance Patrick, where he says, love each other as I'm being loved, in his final prayer there. And so I wanted to echo that, love each other, because that's so important to Christ. And so I included it with the last melody. And we have the standard words of the hymn going above it, but the instrumentalist will echo that nice little fragment, and that provides harmony too. And that's kind of a counterpoint way of providing harmony, where you're not actually caring so much about chord changes and progressions, but you're just filling out the sound by bringing in another pitch. Here it's D, basically, in dwelling on that, so it gives it kind of a D minor feeling. It's fun.